Welcome, I'm Lorelai of Namasturm Yoga. Thanks for practicing at home with me. Today's yoga practice is going to be one that would be great post-workout. So maybe you've gone for a run or a walk or done a little weight training and you want to do some yoga. This is the one. You're a little warmed up, your muscles are ready to go, but you want to do something a little different. So let's go ahead and come to the mat and get started. We'll start with some cat-cow stretches. We're not going to spend a lot of time warming up here, but just a little bit to kind of get into our spine. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Inhale, cow pose, head and tail lift, chest and belly drop. Exhale, cat pose, arch the spine towards the ceiling, let the head come down. Back and forth. See if you can start to connect to your breath here as well. So working an ujjayi breathing practice, slight narrowing of the back of the throat, finding a rhythm to move with. So we're not forcing these poses, we're breathing and just allowing the movement to start to get into our body. Let those muscles warm up as you move. And theoretically, you're already a little bit warmed up. So let's go ahead from here, just go right into down dog. So tuck your toes, lift your knees and hips and move into it. And take a little time, bending one knee, let the opposite leg straighten, pedal through the feet. Spread the fingers wide. Move your hips high, relax your neck. And then let's just walk to the front of the mat and take a nice, easy standing forward fold. Soft knees, let the upper body hang. So we're just going to let things kind of loosen up here. Maybe sway the upper body. And then bend the knees a lot and roll on up to standing. And at the top, reach the arms as you're inhaling. Exhale, lead with the chest, forward fold over the legs. Coming back to following the breath, inhale, roll on up, reach the arms. Exhale, long forward fold. This should feel pretty good here. So now we're just kind of gently letting the muscles keep moving without straining them. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, come on up, reach. Exhale, forward fold, and let's take a couple of sun A's. So walk the feet together, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Bring the fingers to the shins, take a half lift, reach the head away from the tail, and then plant the palms, step back to plank. Let's hold this first plank. So taking this first one a little slower so we can spend time in each pose as opposed to just flowing with the breath. Shoulders over wrists, strong through the core, head reaches away from the tailbone. And then when you're ready to lower, maybe knees come down first. You can go through chaturanga if you want to, but slowly lower. Try to keep the elbows over the wrists and the chest comes down between the hands. And then inhale, cobra. Maybe it's a baby cobra, no weight in the hands, but if you're ready to come all the way up into cobra, relax your glutes, thighs rest on the floor, heart forward, gaze ahead. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Keep the elbows a little soft, and then tuck toes, lift knees and hips. Exhale into downward facing dog, and just take a moment again, breathing here. We've already pedaled through feet, so maybe just think about pressing your hands forward and down and lifting your hips up and back when you inhale. Exhale, lean your chest back, get a little deeper in your pose, lift the hips high, maybe the legs start to straighten. And then inhale, look forward. As you exhale, step walk, or if you want, you can hop the feet up lightly. Inhale, take a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down deep. Press the feet down, reverse swan dive. Come on up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. And let's keep flowing. Now, one breath per movement. Inhale. Exhale, lead with the chest fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just take one inhale here. Exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold down deep. Inhale, reverse, come on up. Exhale, palms together, and again, inhale, follow the breath. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen and extend. Exhale to step back and lower. Inhale, heart opens here, back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Just one inhale. Exhale, step or hop those feet forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. And we're going to keep flowing, and we're going to come back to the next downward facing dog we find and hold there, and we'll start to add on. I actually really love sun salutations as kind of a countermeasure to any workout I've been doing. They're a great way to really work all of the muscles in sync. And I think you just feel like you're kind of moving everything, kind of shake things out with the sun salutation. Let's take the right leg up, but lift the left heel as well and reach the right toes for the ceiling. So get that leg as high as you can get it. Even if the hips stack and open, just keep your shoulders level up front. And then look to the front of the mat, step the right foot all the way between the hands. Front knee over ankle. Let's come up for a high lunge here. So lunging into the front knee, and we kind of want to stretch the legs here. So we're going to take the left arm up, and we're actually going to do a little arm stretch as well. Grab your left elbow, pull over to the right, and then at the same time, we're going to bend the back knee and lower, and then straighten up the back leg. Bend and lower, keep pulling on your arm, so a little multitasking here, and straighten. Bend and lower the knee, and straighten, and one more time, bend the knee, lower it down, and then straighten, and then let go of your elbow, take your left hand, plant it inside the right foot, take the right arm up for a nice twist. Shoulders stack, look up towards your top thumb. Breathe. And then look to the floor, plant your fingers. Now, we're gonna step the back foot a little closer, just a little bit, and then we're gonna straighten up the front leg and fold over it. So we're actually going into pyramid pose here. Fold over the front, try to keep the hips as level as possible. So for me, I think about moving my right hip a little bit back, and then press your back heel down as you let your spine fold over your leg. If you need to prop your fingers up with like a block or a book or whatever you got handy here, you can do that. But if your fingers are able to come to the floor, go ahead and let them rest down on the mat. Breathe here. So this is opening up the back of that front leg. Especially if you've like done a run or something like that where you've really worked those muscles. These are ones we want to stretch, or even walking. Sometimes we just want to let ourselves get the stretch when the body is warm. Plant your palms when you're ready, and you might need to bend the front knee to do this. Let's step to plank and take a vinyasa here. If that doesn't feel good to you, you can skip it and go straight to down dog. But again, I always feel like these kind of feel good because they help you to just kind of flow and glide through the muscles in your body. Let's take the left leg up, lift the right heel, reach that foot for the ceiling. So really straight leg, press up, hips might open, but shoulders stay level. And then look forward between the hands and step the left foot all the way up. Front knee over ankle, reach through the back heel and float on up. Nice crescent pose here. Take the arms up, and this time let's grab the right elbow. So we're doing a little side stretch, and you might even feel this in your triceps. So if you've been doing any weight work, this might be nice here too. Now let's go ahead and just bend the back knee, kind of lunging into that back knee, and straighten. And bend, make sure you're still breathing, and straighten. Bend, and straighten. One more time. Bend and straighten, and then let go of your right elbow, plant your right hand inside the left foot, and take the top arm up. So notice knee is over ankle here. We want a vertical shin, and then the hand and the foot are pretty lined up, shoulders over wrist, and then the top arm stacks over the bottom. See if you can look up towards your top thumb. Breathe. We always want to be breathing. And then turn to your front leg. Step the back foot closer, and this just makes it a little easier to straighten the front leg if that back foot is closer and keep the hips relatively square. See if you can pin your back heel to the floor as you straighten the front leg. Don't lock this knee, so you can work the quad instead to straighten the leg and pull that hip deeper into the socket, or the thigh deeper into the hip socket. Fold over your front leg and breathe. Pyramid. So you might feel this in your hamstring. You might also feel it somewhere in the hip socket. If there's any tension you have in there, everyone will feel it a little differently. Breathe into what's going on for you. And then when you're ready, plant the palms and step back to plank. And again, here's another vinyasa you can take. Take a back bend and come to downward facing dog and breathe. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, step or hop the feet forward between the hands. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold down deep, bend the knees, sink the hips. Let's come to chair pose, Utkatasana. Weight on the heels, knees point forward. This is strengthening the quads. It shouldn't be hurting the knees, but actually by strengthening the quads, we ultimately are working towards protecting the knees because the quads in daily life can take the weight as opposed to the joint. One more inhale. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, again, moving through vinyasa. If you want to take the vinyasa, if you want to opt out, just go to down dog. We're just going to add on from there. Now, from downward facing dog, let's take the right leg into the air, square hip. We're going to do a little bit of core work here, just because, never hurts. Might hurt in the moment, but it's good later. Bring the knee to the chest, shoulders forward over the wrist as you exhale. Inhale, lift the leg back up. Exhale, knee to the right outer upper arm. Just tap your tri. Inhale, lift your leg. Exhale, knee to the left, little twist here. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, step the foot forward. We're going to take a warrior one. So now, instead of like a crescent with the back heel lifted, we're going to step the left foot a little to the left, pivot the heel down to the ground. Come on up. Square forward. Take your warrior one. Breathe. And then we're going to open to warrior two. So the difference in warrior two is that the back foot is going to have to open a little bit to help the hip open. So we want to kind of slide it a little bit more to the center line and turn the toes, not to the back of the mat, but just more to the side of the mat. Arms are out at shoulder height now. And then drop your left hip, shoulders over hips. Front knee stays over ankle. So the front knee is in the same relationship to the front foot as in warrior one. Turn your head, look over the front fingertips. Breathe. Inhale, turn your front palm up and reverse warrior. Stretch up and back. Lunge that front knee forward. One more inhale here, and then exhale. Cartwheel the hands to the floor. Moving through vinyasa, again if you'd like. You can skip it if you prefer. And we'll do the other leg. So inhale, take the left leg up. A nice square hip. So earlier we lifted and reached the toes for the ceiling. Now see if you can level your thigh with, basically with the floor. Knee to chest, shoulders forward over the wrist as you exhale. Inhale to down dog split. Exhale, knee to the left arm. Inhale, down dog split. Exhale, knee to the right. So it's a little twist here. Inhale, lift. And exhale, step the foot to the front of the mat. And now the right foot's a little to the right. The left foot's a little to the left. Front knee is over ankle. Coming up for warrior one. Think about drawing the right hip forward even as you press the outer edge of the right foot down. So it makes that back leg work almost as much as the front leg. Reach the arms up. Breathe. Steady your gaze. Nice strong warrior gaze. And then we're going to open to warrior two. So the main thing that's happening is these hips, which were squared forward, are now going to open completely. Step your right foot open to help with that. Shoulders and hips level out. Torso is vertical. Front knee over ankle. That front shin is also vertical. Arms at shoulder height. Look over the front fingers. Breathe. Relax the shoulders. So although there's energy in the arms, we don't want to hunch the shoulders up. Turn the front palm up, reverse warrior. Keep the back leg strong, keep the front knee lunging. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor, vinyasa. You can take one-legged chaturanga if you like. So this is still a vinyasa practice, right? It's just we're kind of going from the starting point of we are already a little bit warm. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, step or hop the feet forward between the hands. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold. Let's come through chair. So bend the knees, sink the hips, Utkatasana, and then straighten the legs, come to standing. We're going to take a nice wide-legged fold here, parallel the feet. Let's take hands to the waist. Take a nice fold. This is Prastrita Padottanasana. So the outer edges of the feet are parallel to outer edges of the mat. The head comes down, the hands come between the feet. Let your head hang. Now this is a stretch for the backs of the legs, and we want to activate that by pressing the feet down, lifting the quads up, and then moving the weight toward the balls of the feet so that we're really opening the backs of the legs here. Let the head hang. Press the feet down, bring your hands to your waist, come on up, let's float up. Let's turn the right toes forward, so pivot on your front heel. The back toes can turn in a little bit, just tiny amount. Arms out, warrior two, bend the front knee, adjust the foot position if you need to. Inhale, reverse warrior, and let's take extended side angle. Forearm to thigh, so classic version, top arm overhead, creating a diagonal. But if you want to stretch the arms a little bit, you can take the back arm behind you and come to a half bind. So you're taking the back of the hand behind your hips and then reaching around, try to grab the top of your right thigh. And then keep pushing your right forearm down, but lift your left shoulder up, turn up towards the ceiling. Breathe. So from here, we're going to go to a half moon, and you can keep the bind, the half bind in the half moon if you want. Half moon. Take the right fingers forward. If you need a block, you can use a block, but don't feel like you have to. You could also just reach for the floor ahead of your mat and then float the back leg up. Reach through head, reach through heel. Little balance never hurt. Now you can keep this half bind, or if you want, you can take that top arm and extend it up into the air. Ah, yes. Reach, breathe, breathe. And then let's just turn to the floor. So take your left hand down, and we're going to take a standing split. So fold toward the right leg, lift the left leg higher. Again, stretching the back of the leg here. Breathe. And then bend the front knee, step back long. Plant your palms and take a vinyasa here. Cobra or up dog, and exhale, downward facing dog, and rest and breathe. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or hop the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, coming back through chair pose, Utkatasana, and then straighten the legs, come to standing. So we're going to do all this on the other side. So you can step this way on your mat, or I'm just going to step this way on my mat, whatever way makes the most sense for you, but we're going to go towards the left leg this time when we do our standing poses. So take your hands behind the back this time, interlace fingers. So we're going to stretch into the shoulders here a little bit. Shoulder blades back and down, lead with the heart, folding down. Let the head hang. Again, lift the quads, lean to the balls of the feet. So we're adding in a shoulder stretch here, but we're still opening the backs of the legs. Press the feet down, float up carefully. Let's turn the left toes. And then you can turn the right toes in just a little bit. Coming to warrior two, front knee over front ankle, hips are level, arms out at shoulder height, and then taking your left forearm to your thigh, top arm overhead for extended side angle. You can keep the classic version, or if you want to work this top arm a little bit, bring it behind you. Try to reach for the top of your left thigh with your right hand, and then use that to move your top shoulder open. So we're also actually almost like trying to twist and open the upper body as well. So it just adds a slightly extra element to this pose. And then moving towards half moon. And again, you can keep this half bind if you want to. If it complicates things, just bring your hand to your waist. And then reach the left fingers for the end of your mat or off your mat even, and float the right foot up. You can keep your half bind if that feels good for you, or maybe take that top arm up. Reach through the heel, reach through the head. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then we're going to come out of it to standing split. So in your own time, when you're ready, you'll take your right hand back down to the floor, fold into the left leg, lift the right leg higher, and breathe. And then step the right foot back, plant your palms, and you can take a vinyasa here on your mat. Breathing in downward dog. Let's go ahead and drop the knees to the floor, and we're going to just do a little bit of back bending here. Especially when we're warm, back bends are always nice. They can be a little therapeutic for the spine. So we're going to do camel pose, Ustrasana. So take yourself to your knees, trying to keep your hips over your knees. First one, try to tuck your toes underneath, and that's just going to move the heels up off the ground. So if you're thinking of reaching your heels, they're a little more accessible. Now you don't have to reach for the heels in camel. You can keep your hands on your waist the whole time. And the idea is to move the shoulder blades into the upper back and move the heart up and forward. So back bends are for the upper back. Low back is going to bend a little bit, but that does it pretty naturally. Let's not crunch in the low back. So we're going to help that out by tucking the tailbone, keeping the hips forward over the knees so that we're not just jutting the hips back and crunching here, right? We want to really keep this sense of openness in the front of the body. Tuck your tail. Chin can stay in, or if it feels good for your neck, your head can go back. Maybe hands to heels. Breathe. When you're ready to come up, support your waist. Head will come up last if it's back. Come on up. Woo. Sit back on your heels. Keep the toes tucked. You can get a little stretch for your feet, toes. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do one more. So this next one, I guess I should say, it is the last one also. You can extend the feet if you want to. If you'd like to keep the heels tucked or the toes tucked so you can reach the heels, that's fine. Heels are further away now. You may not be able to reach them. It's okay, because the backup plan is to have your hands on your waist. If you go to reach for your heels and you find you can't reach them, put your hands back on your waist. So I think it's not super helpful to do this pose with the arms just kind of dangling, because there's nothing for the hands to root into then. And using the hands rooting into something is what's going to help drive your shoulder blades deeper into upper back and ultimately drive the back bend. Chin in or head back. See where you're at for this version. Try to keep your hips over your knees. Breathe. When you're ready to come up, same deal. Hands to the waist, head comes up last. And sit down on your heels. Let's drop to the left hip. So we're going to take a little twist here. Twisting nice after back bend. Step the right foot over. Drop the right hip down. And take a good twist. So you're going to either grab your knee with your left elbow or take the elbow past the knee as you turn over the right shoulder. Head can turn over the shoulder as well. So I do think yoga is a great sort of like cross training or counter to any other type of exercise you're doing. It just gets into the muscles in a very different way. And that's why I think it's also beneficial to do, if you're mostly doing yoga, to do something else as well. So whether it's walking, a little resistance training. We do build both strength and flexibility and a little bit of endurance in yoga. But I do think it can help your body to do a multitude of different things. If it gets used to one thing, it becomes too easy and other muscles kind of relax in response. Let's twist the other way. So change around the legs. Keep both sit bones on the ground. Grab your left elbow or your left knee with your right elbow, or take your right elbow past your knee and twist. So I always think that yoga feels great after doing another workout. It provides you the opportunity to stretch so much more deeply than just doing 5 minutes of like quick little, okay, I'm gonna stretch my legs and stretch my arms real quick and then go. I think if you can do a little practice, sometimes it just feels good, and your practice might be deeper for it because you've already warmed up. So that's sort of the intention here. Come on back to center. And let's go ahead and we're gonna turn the toes out and just come to a nice squat here. So take the elbows inside the knees, press the palms, and move your heart forward. So this is gonna get a little into the hips here. And you should feel that, if you can't get your heels down, that's okay. So you could be on your toes. But you should feel as your knees widen, you can deepen the stretch in your legs and hips. But then also try to press your chest forward. So even though it's not actually a back bend, it has a little of that feel. Okay, and now we are actually going to do some hip openers. So we're going to go ahead and come back to downward facing dog, and you can just turn on your mat, plant your palms. If you want a vinyasa, you can take it, but maybe at this point you just come straight there. Let's take the right leg into the air. This time open the hip and bend the top knee. So another variation on the down dog split. Point the knee to the sky, and then we'll pull the knee up and forward behind the right wrist. Let the shin cross the mat, and then use the left toes to walk the left leg back. Get onto the top of the back thigh, extend the back toes, and just a nice easy fold out over your front shin. Forearms to the floor to prop you up at first. If you tend to roll to your right hip, you might need to put something underneath it to keep that from happening. We want to stay centered here. Fold down. If the forearms are no longer needed, walk the hands out. Maybe forehead comes to the floor. Breathe. And then coming up carefully, let's stretch the back quad. So quads are a huge muscle, and we use them in yoga practice a lot, anytime we're lunging. But they also get used in, anything where we're lifting with our legs, right? So running can put some impact on those. So we want to stretch them pretty frequently. Support yourself with the right fingers and bend the left knee and reach back for the foot. Now, if you can't grab the foot, it's okay. You can still get a stretch. You probably just don't need to do as much. So you can extend the leg back out and just start to walk your torso up. And you can kind of see you're already going to get a stretch for that quad. But for many of us, that's not really a deep enough stretch. So pulling the heel in is going to deepen the stretch dramatically. And breathe here as you move your heel towards your hip. See if you can keep your head and shoulders more upright. That's also going to be, it's like we're stretching it from both sides, from both ends. So like pulling the foot in is one end of the stretch, and the other end of the stretch is moving the shoulders up so that we're really getting as deep of a stretch as we can. Don't force it, but you should feel it here. One more full breath. And if any of these if you need to spend longer in any of them, please feel free. Do what you've got to do. These are just some suggestions. Go ahead, come back to down dog. So step back, shake out the right leg or kick through the heel because it's probably going to need it after that knee being up and forward like that. And then we'll do the other leg. So take the left leg up, open the hip and bend the knee, point the knee to the sky. Heel drops to the right hip. Try to keep the shoulders level here. And then look forward and let the left knee move forward behind the left wrist. Let the shin cross the mat. Use those right toes to help walk the right leg back. Get on the top of the thigh. Extend the foot and fold. This is a passive stretch, so it should feel good. I mean, it can be a deep stretch and an intense stretch, but we're not like efforting or pulling ourselves into it. Let go here, breathe. Walk the arms out if you can. And then coming up, we'll stretch the right quad this time. So left fingers on the floor, move yourself up, and bend the right knee behind you. Reach back with the hand for the foot. Draw the heel toward the hip. Heart forward, shoulders soft. If you can move yourself more upright, go for it. And then carefully let your foot go behind you. Hands to the floor, stepping back to down dog. Shake out the left leg or kick through the heel. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, step or hop the feet forward and come to a seat. So some of just the most basic stretches we do are just forward folds to stretch the hamstrings, and we'll end here. So take the legs out, give them a little shake, and then let's take the left foot in, keep the right leg out. We're going to take Janu Shirshasana here. So the sole of the foot is to the inner thigh. You're angling your body towards your right foot and keeping the foot flexed, keeping the quad a little toned up here, and then fold over the right leg. Your hands can just be on the floor to help support you here. If you want to grab the foot, fine, but don't strain for it. So again, we do want our hands to be somewhere and the upper body to be pretty relaxed. We're just letting gravity do the job here. So we're not, if we've got the foot, we don't want to be like pulling ourselves down actively. Let the muscle open, just give it, the guidance, but don't force it. And then slowly walk yourself in, come on up, and leg number 2. So take your leg out and tuck the sole of your right foot in, angle your body towards your leg, and then folding over your left. Same thing, and notice that the start is a little different than the end, right? So we're just starting here. Don't try to force yourself down into the deepest version here. The reason we hold poses is because they can deepen over time, and we don't want to rush our body into something. It just needs that space to get ready to do. And then slowly walk the hands in, come on up. And last of all, let's just take both feet in and do a little, this is sometimes butterfly, sometimes cobbler's pose. Baddha Konasana is what it's called in Sanskrit, which is bound angle pose. Feet together, knees wide, and you can press your elbows gently against your knees, but I also encourage a slight push up against the elbows with the knees, so there's a little back and forth push-pull that's happening here. And then let your body lean over your legs. So we're opening the hip flexors here. Breathe, don't force, allow. And then go ahead, come on up. Take your knees in, and maybe this little stretch, I love this little stretch. Hands on the floor behind you, start to lift up your hips and point the knees to the ground. This is not camel exactly, but it's a nice stretch for the fronts of the legs, across the shoulders, chin in or maybe head back. And then come to the floor. We're gonna do plow pose here, and this may or may not be something that feels good to you. I love this pose. It gives a nice stretch across the upper back, and we're gonna come down and try to stretch the legs as we do it. So if this is possible, you're gonna take your hands next to your hips, and then you're gonna press your hips off the floor. If you can't do that, just stay here with the legs in the air and allow the blood just to flow the other way, and that can feel really good. If you were gonna go for this though, press down, lift up. Try to get the toes to touch the floor behind your head. Breathe here. If you can, take your hands and interlace your fingers and then roll your shoulders more underneath you. Try not to turn the head from side to side in this pose. Now to come down, go ahead and bend your knees right near your ears and then reach your hands for your feet. And see if you can push your feet into your hands to slow down your body as it slowly descends to the floor, hips last. And then you're in happy baby. Knees by the sides of the chest, hands press the feet down, rock a little from side to side on the low back. Oh yeah, this should feel good on the back, and that's kind of what we want. If you want, you can straighten one leg into the hand, and then the other leg into the hand. You know, happy baby, make it feel good. And then feet together, edges of the feet to the floor. Now we can take a Supta Baddha Konasana, which is a reclining bound angle pose. Now just letting gravity take those knees down. Tuck your shoulders underneath your upper back. The arms open out at the sides. And breathe. Now, I encourage you to stay in this pose for another minute or so, as long as you want, and then remain on your back, and when you're ready, let your legs extend and take a few minutes of Shavasana. But I'm going to wrap up the practice with you, so I'm just going to come to seated to close. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you got something out of it. Please share if you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Keep practicing. Namaste.